Okay, now that we've seen how to set up a connection to the database, let's actually look at the way that the code works. So if you remember, we've got here, it's getting a list of companies. I can select a company. It's retrieving fields back, showing the company name and the country, and so on. The principle is for each action that I take on the client side, it's going to call something on the server side. So let's see how that works. So let's stop the preview running. It's going to, well, first of all, when the app starts, it populates this list with a list of customers. So we go to events, and you'll see here on app started. So I click here to bring up the on app started function, and it's calling refresh list. There's refresh list. And I'm not going to go into real detail just yet about how the guts of this function works, but I want to concentrate on the principle. So the principle is an action occurs on the client. You then call the client-side API function call SSJ, so call server-side JavaScript. You're going to call it with a function name, a server-side function name, and you're going to pass in a parameter. There are all sorts of different ways of passing in parameters, and it will return with a callback. So that is the way you do it every single time. So just kind of digest that, and you can apply that for all your SSJ calls. On the server-side functions, if you remember, are in the server folder here within your app. And in this case, I can look for, if you remember, I'm calling AC demo web service. So let's go and find that in the server-side code. Here it is. So what we're doing here is receiving the parameter, more on that in a moment, and we're then creating an object. In this particular case anyway, we're creating an object which is a connection to the database, that customer database, and then we're going to go and do whatever action is required, and it will return data in one of these functions. So in case of get customers, for instance, it's going to return data back to the client. And again, on the client side, it is going to, let's come in here, it's going to trigger this callback function in here. Well, there's the start of it. And it's going to use the populate widget function to actually fill that list with customers. So that is the principle of the interaction between client and server-side code. In the next video, I'm going to actually go into real detail about the way that a couple of these functions actually work.